So in this video, I'm just going to give a quick demonstration of some software to export delivery notes to Rhys Davis Logistics. And then I'll probably move on to some of the settings and finer points of the software. So the purpose of the software basically is to scan through the orders daybook looking for delivery notes which have not been exported to the logistics company before. So what it would then do is create a CSV file containing a list of all the delivery notes to process by the logistics company, and it will print off each delivery note as a PDF and then upload that information to an FTP website for the logistics company to process. So here you can see we've got 4 SDNs, and if I open probably the last one, I've set up here 3 test products. And if we click on there, we can see on the stock record we have various values which represent the weight, height and layer quantity, etc., which the program will use and calculate and put into the CSV file. So let's run the program up. Now normally the program would could be activated from the tools menu up here within Exchequer Enterprise, but on my development PC I should just run up the code. It's worth pointing out here you can press spacebar at any time to pause this video if you want to read the screen in detail. Now, so hopefully what we've provided is a pretty easy user interface here, in that basically we've got an export delivery button which will export all delivery notes sitting in the daybook that have not been exported before, and effectively it edits and puts exported in the user field 10 in the transaction header. Or you could say I want to export delivery note 100 to 105, in which case it will process it. Now I suppose there's a word of warning here that in actual fact when these are converted to invoice, then Exchequer does actually delete the delivery note. So you'd have to have the delivery note still left in the daybook. Maybe worth a bit of consideration the way that works. Okay, so I'm going to press export to delivery, but in order to see what it's up to, let's press open export folder, which has popped up on a separate screen. So that's the folder we're going to export the information for temporarily before moving off or exporting the data to Rhys Davis Logistics. So also I have open as an FTP program called FileZilla. So that's the refresh button basically, and this is what's actually sitting at Rhys Davis at present in their test FTP site. So if I now press the export button, like I say, you can press spacebar to pause any of this if you want to slow it down slightly. I'm going to press export. It's now going to open Exchequer. It's now going to create the CSV file, which we can see it has done there. It's now printing each delivery note as a PDF, and now you'll see them appearing in the directory. And in a second it will start uploading them via the FTP. There it goes. And then what it will do is it will, let's just move this out of the way, it will create an archive directory here. So all the files that I've exported to the logistics company are popped into there. So effectively every time it's run, it will export anything in this directory and FTP them up. So if there was a problem, you could actually move these files back into here and send them up again. Now when it finishes, it creates a nice little log file, and you can see how I've run it many times actually today. But normally, maybe if that was first thing in the morning, you would just see this. So this now lists the 4 delivery notes along with their the customer and how many lines were on each delivery note. So there we can see we exported 4 deliveries, which is correct, and then we printed them and then it uploaded them to the server. So there's the CSV file. Remember, the CSV file lists all the information needed to deliver the items, and the PDFs are obviously the images. So let's just have a look at those. So here's my CSV file, and so that looks something like that. Very exciting. And obviously if we click on a PDF, then we see a PDF representation. Of course, this is an example exchequer company, so the form layout on your live site will be somewhat different, but the same principle holds. So now if I go over to the FTP site, we would expect all that information now to be residing. And so there it is on the so there's the data on Rhys Davis's logistics FTP site for them to process. So let's talk about a few of the finer points. Okay, so if I go into a delivery note in Exchequer, we should see here it says exported. So again, if I took that away, then that would cause that to be exported again. So that's how it's flagging the delivery notes not to be exported. And of course, if I put a number in there between I don't know, 100 and 105, it totally ignores that flag. So you can resend things. And I showed how this button here shows us our export directory and our archives. So if anything fails, we can swap it back into the out directory. And then if we press export again, even if it doesn't actually process anything new, it will attempt to FTP again. So that's kind of a little bit of a fallback method. Under the options menu here, we can upload anything, kick off the FTP upload, and we also have view system settings. Enables us to define what company it's exporting, the directory it's writing the information to as a temporary directory before it sends it out. Here we can see the FTP details. And there is actually an option, it is possible actually to print all the delivery notes to one file, but they have to be then in the EDF, the Exchequer document file format, which means that Rhys Logistics would have to have their own EDF reader installed, which the EDF reader does come with Exchequer, but it's again something to go wrong. It depends, I can see if they're going to print those files off at their end and there's 25 files, sorry, 25 deliveries, it'd probably be easier for them to have the EDF software and they just double click on it and print it, and it prints the 25 pages off, as opposed to open 25 PDFs and possibly missing one. There's also, and I've got it on at present, as a way of just overriding that flag so I can continually send all transactions for testing. So that would normally be off.